Hey there, folks, and welcome to something a little different. Today, we're looking at Eternal Return and its newest character by going by the name of Daniel. Now, Daniel, seen here covering his face like an absolute emo man. He tends to blend into the shadows. Is it his clothes, or is he a shadow as well? Time will tell. Let's take a look at his kit. We'll watch this later, but let's start here with his auto attacks. He's got a nice auto attack pattern there. And here he is with his reclusive passive, it would seem. With no description of anything going on here. He looks like he gets some vision there. Daniel thrives in the darkness. At night, his vision penalty is reduced and his out-of-combat movement speed is increased. Antipathy. His attack power is increased whenever his health is low, day or night. Okay, Dusk Shears. He's got a scissors. Okay, interesting. Daniel manifests ghastly scissors in the targeted location, dealing damage. Hitting an enemy increases the attack speed of his next 3 basic attacks. Hitting an enemy in the middle of the blades deals more damage, slows enemies hit, and reduces Daniel's cooldown of Dusk Shears and Shadow Glide. So we got a real Gwen Q here. Snip, snip, just like in League. Very, very, very similar. It does extra damage in the center cone. It has a slow and increases his basic attacks, and if he deals damage, I'm assuming, hitting an enemy... Oh, just hitting an enemy with the middle. So being precise with it will reduce the cooldown. So you can see the little cone here in between. Before the blade snaps, there's a little bit of a darker patch right there. That'll be your middle cone. Very nice, very nice. Okay, we look at W here. Inspiration. Daniel marks his target with growing inspiration, slowing himself, reducing their vision range, and storing a portion of his damage dealt to them. Vision range reduction is removed if the target takes damage from Daniel. After a few seconds, Daniel becomes inspired by his target, revealing them to Daniel. Daniel stays inspired by the target for a few seconds. Damaging the inspired target consumes the mark, dealing the stored damage along with additional damage, and rooting the target. Daniel becomes uninspired if the target moves too far away from him. This is 2 times 5 speed, so it takes a good long while to inspire the enemy, so definitely want to start fights with a W, looks like, and deal a lot of damage. So you're dealing damage here, but it's not actually actively dealing damage to them until you consume the mark. Then it's going to be a big burst of damage and a root. So definitely it might be good to try to deal as much damage in that time and then root them and get the easy Q to get your cooldown off, unless the Q is the best way. I mean, it's a wide enough cone that damaging him you'll get the root, right? Okay, and then Shadow Glide, his E, it looks like a movement skill of some sort. He's got a dash here, and then it looks like probably an enhanced range auto attack by the looks of things. It can go through walls, which is nice. Daniel ducks into the shadows and dashes in the targeted direction. His next basic attack teleports him behind his target, dealing additional damage. So it's kind of similar to... I just like to relate everything to League of Legends. It's kind of similar to an Echo E, which is a short dash with an enhanced auto, but it has the additional value of going behind a target. So this could be good to keep you in range for your inspiration, and then if once he's fully inspired, you deal the damage, you get the root off, and then you can hit the easy Q, get the reduced cooldown, slow him, that sort of thing. The root looks really short here, but it's about 2.5 times longer than it would be right there. And then finally, his big boy ultimate. Okay, it looks like a Kane. He goes inside somebody and deals damage and jumps out. So it's a Kane ultimate. Daniel becomes his target's shadow and silences them if they have growing inspiration. So definitely W, you ult into them, wait a little while, dash around, get the Q off, you get the root, all that sort of stuff goes down. If he is inspired by them, or if they are rooted, while Daniel is shadowing his target, he deals cellular damage up to 4 times. Upon reaching the max duration or reactivating the skill, Daniel completes his masterpiece and leaves them behind, dealing damage increasing based on his target's missing HP. Oh. So this might be better. This sounds like an execute of sorts. Oh, they just released Ava and they're ready to drop this character? That's awesome. That's really cool, actually. Okay, so yeah, he seems pretty sick, actually. Head over to the official Discord, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So yeah, it looks like you definitely want to start your fights with W. As soon as you see an enemy, depending on the range, I suppose. You want to get your W off as early as possible once you're in range to deal damage to them. Because if you're not dealing damage to them while you're inspiring them, then there's not as much value in it. Might as well save it. But yeah, once you are in auto range, or you can hit them with a Q, then hit them with the W, and get that cooldown going. Deal as much damage as you can to them. Hopefully, if they're actually fighting you, your W is going to be really valuable. So the thing is, right, if you cast your W and they inspire and it goes off without, you're not going to deal a lot of damage with it, and they can wait it out. Then as soon as this is on cooldown, they can come at you and you have nothing. Right? So you have your ultimate, which is a good way to get around some abilities, but it's not going to deal a lot of damage if they're high health. You have to get a valuable W off. If you don't get a valuable W, your Q is not enough to kill, and your E is good for dodging some things, more or less. You're not going to want to dash straight at your enemy like that. If you can dash to the side and get close enough to auto, then that's going to be... You're more likely to dodge an ability if you dodge to the sides. Definitely using your E early. Probably putting a skill in E first, just for running around searching and stuff, because you can go through walls, is really nice. But yeah, basically, if you're in a team fight or in a 1v1, making sure that you inspire the right target in a team fight, and then being like, hey, everybody focus the guy with the scissor on top of his head. That's definitely going to be a good way to maximize his damage output. I wouldn't know. I can't say he's an assassin yet. We don't have any of the scalings or the damage profile. I'm assuming he is not... I'm assuming he's spell amp. I can't actually say. You do get... Yeah, you get more basic attack damage, so if you can actually keep up with them, then Q and W are really just going to work together very, very well. And you have your dash E, so don't dash in if you can avoid it. If you can avoid dashing in, then putting your W on, getting a good Q off, and then dashing in to keep on top of them, getting as much damage during the W charm as possible. It's kind of like Evelyn, what is that, Evelyn's W, where it's not going to charm them. You charge up your damage while you're hitting them. Oh, well, looking here, it looks like it still does damage, and then additional damage. Maybe, it's hard to say. Without actual stats and stuff, it's a little bit more difficult to say exactly how well it'll all work out. This range is quite nice, I would say. The Q's range is quite nice. You're slowing an enemy if you get the hit correctly, reducing the cooldown of your Q and your E as well. That's not something to scoff at right there. So maybe he is going to be spell power, because spells scale well with cooldown reduction. And if you can get good, like Glacial Shoes or Scotty is good in most cases. Stuff like that is going to help out a lot with keeping your abilities up at all times and being able to use them, considering your mana. This character could be very, very good. I don't know what his weapon looks like. It's just a dagger. So you're going to want to run... Geez, I don't know. I mean, obviously Fragarak is... I don't know how to say it. Does Fragarak sound correct to anyone? I don't know. Froggerach is obviously probably going to be your best bet, considering the attack power stats on that. I don't know my items very well. I just like Vibroblade. Tends to be the one that I like to go to. But I don't know if that's good for spell power. But yeah, in terms of like gold items, Fragarak, Glacial Shoes, and Scotty are going to be definitely where you're going to want to go. Attack speed probably wouldn't be terrible. Movement speed is definitely going to be a big thing, since it looks like your W slows yourself. So you're going to be slowing yourself when you cast your W, so definitely going to want to keep your dash for after you cast your W, since you're going to be slowing yourself. Yeah, so cast your W, get in range with your E, hit him with a Q, get as much damage as you can on, and then depending on the cooldown, maybe you can Q again once it's finished charming. So like W, dash in, E, Q, get those autos off as fast as possible. You maybe don't even need to do the auto if you can get in range without the auto dash, then maybe do that. Actually, that's probably not worth it. That's pretty instant. So you can dash in, you get the E auto, you Q, then you're going to get the reduced cooldown. You hit him with 3, your attack speed, auto attacks, your Q's on cooldown, and it just says, revealing them, stay inspired for a few seconds. Damaging the inspired target consumes the mark. So it doesn't say in any way, shape, or form. You do also have your ultimate some of the time, so if you need to use your ultimate to get on them. I don't know how long the charm lasts. The mark lasts, I should say. But that could be good. Maybe your ultimate does damage on impact. I'm not sure. I don't think so. Yeah, it does damage over time, which is interesting. So maybe it's good enough. Does it do any damage over time? Inspired by them, or if they are rooted, while shadowing's target, he deals damage. Okay, yeah. Oh, the silences. Okay, so he can silence them if they're rooted or fully inspired. So yeah, that's not bad, I guess. It doesn't really matter, unless you're in a team fight for the silence. But you're dealing damage over time, and then dealing damage execute style on the way out. So there's definitely some value in that. So getting them fully inspired, and then using your ultimate to get on top of them. Hopefully they've missed an ability or two with you dashing around on your E. You can sit inside them for as long as you need to. If the mark still isn't fully made, which it looks like it actually takes a while here as a normal speed. So you actually have probably enough time to sit in them for the maximum amount of time, and then pop out and deal damage, and then just keep sticking on them with your Q and E. So yeah, this character looks pretty solid. If his damage numbers are low, then he's not going to be very strong. If W doesn't deal as much damage as it should, then he'll be very weak. I think everything comes down to that, to consuming the mark. The Q and E is really good early for like chasing and stuff, but in a 1v1 there's not enough damage there to really kill anybody. So I think your ultimate and your W have to be good in a 1v1 fight for this character to really pop off. Certainly, if the enemy misses all their abilities, it doesn't really matter. But so like if you can do well dodging stuff, then go for it. It'll be worth it, right? It'll be good. But yeah, if his W is really strong and like the burst is there, then he could be a pretty solid character. I don't think unless his Q and E cooldowns are like absolutely insane early game, I don't expect him to be OP like Ava was. I think this is a much more well-rounded character right off the bat. Of course, all of these numbers could be out of the wazoo, and like his Q could do like 150 million damage, and his E could have like a 2-second cooldown or something at level 6 or level 5, whatever, max level, whatever. Yeah, if the W is really 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 strong, then that's like an issue. But it probably won't be super strong. So yeah, tell me what you guys think about Daniel here. I guess we'll go ahead and watch this video now, and we can see what's good here.
You need a sharp pin to fix a butterfly to a wall. Damage levels have to go. Tilt your head. Damage levels have to go. Tilt your head. I'll tighten this up a bit. My next piece has been decided.
Okay, so yeah, it seems pretty cool. He has some cool combos there, where he could kind of they kind of dealt it out for you. I did notice that his ultimate did not consume his mark until he popped. Well, even after he popped out, it doesn't consume the mark. Oh, it does consume the mark. Okay, so being inside, I guess damage over time does not consume the mark until you actually deal specific skill damage. So you're gonna want to you're definitely, like, as the combos stated, I think both of them started with W and into ult. Or this was WQE, but the other combo was, I mean, it doesn't really matter either way. This is probably better, actually. So WQE basically gives you time for those cooldowns to be reset by your Q. So WEQ might even be better, just so that you get the cooldown reduction on your E and your Q. And then getting your ultimate off and the full charge time while the mark is going on gives you as much possible damage during your W's charge, during the mark's charge time, so that when the mark is finally popped, it'll be huge damage, right? Regardless of your ultimate. So casting your ultimate later and being able to use your abilities at the beginning of the mark is going to be good. So WEQ, I think, is better, just to get the cooldowns off, get as much time in for the ultimate. You get the full charge time on your ultimate, you pop out, deal a bunch of damage. Basically, your enemy can't really do anything unless they stun you before you get your ultimate off. So if you're facing a character with high CC, like a Nikki maybe, or a Jan, somebody that sticks to you and can like really mess you up, then you're going to want to ult sooner so you can get that guaranteed W damage later, and kind of hopefully bait out some cooldowns. And then, but if you're facing like a Fiora or a Sissela maybe, who doesn't have a lot of CC, or like a Jackie that doesn't have CC, and you could even wait out Jackie's ultimate inside them a little bit maybe. It's just like a good way to kind of waste a little bit of time while they're trying to fight you. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about Daniel. He seems like a pretty well-balanced character. Hopefully he's not super weak, because he looks like a really interesting character. I don't have enough money to get him unlocked right away, but he does seem like a very interesting character I'd be willing to try. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm pretty excited to see him. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Ba 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 ba.